out there. Good evening and welcome to Wednesday Night Wellness Live. I'm Dr. Andrew Merrill here at Nightlight Chiropractic. And you found it, the video that we do each and every week that brings you the health topics that we want to get to you because we're being asked by all of our patients. This week we're talking about our New Year's resolution, I guess, right? So last year, I think I remember this pretty distinctly, vividly. Last year, I kind of made a joke of sorts in bad taste that you can change now, right? There's no reason to wait. You don't have to wait until the new year rolls around to change or to become a better person or to do something differently. You can do that right now, but I'm going to go ahead and get behind you. I want to rally behind you and say, if you have a New Year's resolution that is to work out, to get fit, to become the healthiest that you've ever been in the year 2021, I'm behind you. I support you. I'm rooting for you. If I can help in any which way, you let me know, because if it takes that special day or that special New Year's resolution to set you on the right track, well, by golly, let's do it. Let's go. There's no better time than now, and it's 2 days from now. So as we get to the end of the year, as we're talking about some of these New Year's resolutions, because we all chitter-chatter about it, right? I mean, it's the thing to talk about, the thing to do. I wanted to bring you some fitness myths that we're going to debunk here this evening, because I don't want you to fall into a trap, right? I want you to do this the right way if you're going to go about doing it. It shouldn't be gimmicky. It can't be silly. And so we're going to talk about some fitness myths right now so that you have a better understanding of maybe what you're going to get yourself into if you're trying to get fit for 2021. All right. So myth number one is that unused muscle turns into fat, right? Has anybody else out there heard that? So the reality is that muscle cells are muscle and fat is made up of fat cells. So these two cannot become other tissues. That's not how tissues work anyways. What can end up happening is if you stop lifting weights, your muscles can start to atrophy. If you keep eating the same calories at the same time, you can end up hiding some of those muscles under a layer of fat. So it looks like muscles turning into fat, but really what's happening is you're just eating too many calories and packing on some fat while muscles atrophy a little bit. Unused muscle does not turn into fat. Okay, so that's myth number one. Myth number two, morning workouts are more beneficial than night workouts. I don't know if anybody else out there has heard that, but that's totally untrue, right? There's very, very little research that shows that a morning workout can be better. The only thing that might end up happening is if you do your morning workout before you eat, right? If you do it before you eat breakfast, it can actually help you to increase your calorie loss throughout the day, your calorie deficiency throughout the day. So even still, morning workouts are not better than night workouts. So whenever you're fitting it in, that's when you should be doing it. It's a myth that morning workout is better. Myth number three, stretching pre-workout prevents injuries. Has anybody else out there heard that? In fact, I feel like sometimes I talk to patients in that way and that's how they're hearing me, but that's not necessarily true. If you're doing explosive workouts, think HIIT training workouts, think powerlifting type stuff in the gym or heavy lifting in the gym, you specifically do not want to be stretching before you go do that. Some of those connective tissues are actually protecting you from injury. Also, they are allowing you to be stronger. When you're stretching muscle, you're actually pulling apart some of those fibers and decreasing the amount of force that you can generate. So you don't want to stretch before you work out. You want to stretch either in the middle or after a light warm-up, or preferably at the end of your workout. Okay, so that's what we should be doing as far as stretching. Let's see, myth number four, you can target different parts of the body to lose fat on, right? And I hear this all the time, right? People are just talk about, oh, I just want to lose belly fat. Oh, I just want to lose the fat underneath my arms. Oh, I just want to lose, my butt, whatever it is. That's not how fat loss works at all, folks. Fat starts coming off of your body kind of en masse throughout everything. In fact, there's male or android obesity, and there's gynoid or female obesity, and that's how men and women are put together, and our hormones in our body are telling that fat where to go and where to stay and where to come off last. So understand that you can't do specific exercises to target fat loss. It's either all or nothing. Let's see, how about this one? Myth number five, cardio burns fat. Has anybody heard that one or kind of fallen into that trap? If I just run enough, I'm gonna lose weight, definitely, right? Cardio burns calories, not fat. And so if you can be calorie deficit, what you're gonna do is end up burning fat as long as you are eating protein and as long as you are doing some resistance training so you're not losing muscle too. So cardio burns calories, not fat. That's a myth. Let's see, myth number 6, muscle weighs more than fat. Has anybody heard that one? Muscle weighs more than fat? It kind of reminds me of a joke. I don't know, maybe my kids told me this, but would you rather be crushed by a ton of feathers or a ton of bricks? Well, neither, right? A ton is a ton and still the same amount of weight. Same thing with muscle and fat. Muscle is a little bit denser than fat, which is why it looks a little bit better, but there's no difference in weight. A pound of muscle, a pound of fat are both the same weight. I don't know what I'm talking about all of a sudden. Myth number 7, if you want six-pack abs, do crunches. How about that one? Has anybody heard that one? If you want six-pack abs, do crunches. Well, there's an old saying, maybe you've heard it before, abs are made in the kitchen, right? If you want six-pack abs, we all have six-pack abs, right? That muscle group is there in all of us, and what we get is if you are dieting, if you're restricting calories a little bit and able to go into a calorie deficit, lose the fat that's covering that, you will end up being able to see those six-pack abs. Right? So we want to make sure that we're dieting so that we're losing some of the fat so that we can see those six-pack abs, not just trying to do crunches and make those muscles get bigger and bigger. They'll never be big enough to shine through 10 pounds of fat, never ever, so it doesn't matter. Now, keep in mind, those muscles, those rectus abdominis muscles right in the front that make those pretty abdominal muscles, they're part of your core muscle group. So I do recommend doing some crunches or some work for that muscle group. Just don't think that it's going to make those six-pack abs shine through without some good dieting. Let's see, I got myth number 8, sports drinks are the best option after heavy exercise. Again, myth, no good. Most of these drinks have tons of calories. They have more calories than whatever you just burned depending on what exercise you might have done in the gym. So be real careful about these sports drinks. They are usually not the best option for you. They, aside from just the calories, has anybody heard the term electrolytes? You know, electrolytes are what you're trying to get back by drinking those sports drinks, right? And electrolytes really boils down to just salt. And so I got a recipe for you here. Think of it as a holiday recipe, if you will, but you take 16 ounces of water, you take a little pinch of Himalayan sea salt and sprinkle it right in there, and then we can call that the Dr. Merrill aid or whatever you want to call it. Your name here, aid, because water plus salt is all the electrolytes you need. Let's see, I got a question here real quick about fasting, keto versus carb loading. So the term carb loading is a dangerous one too. If you are an elite athlete, an endurance athlete, you might need to think about carb loading. If you are not doing more than an hour of exercise, which I'll talk about that here in just a second, you don't need to ever use the word or think the phrase carb loading. Just throw it out, get rid of it. Not for you, not for most people that are going to be watching this video. Let's see, myth number 9, and I'll get back to that here in a second about how much exercise I think that we should be doing. Myth number 9, there's a post-workout window for protein. Has anybody heard that? If you don't get enough protein right after your bout of exercise, then it's going to be wasted, or your exercise is just for nothing and you can't build muscle. Totally not true. There's been lots of research on this here recently showing that there is no real window. You should keep your protein levels kind of high and balanced throughout the day. So think 3 balanced meals of good protein, or maybe 2 kind of squished together. But your protein does not have to fit into a window right after your workout. Your body will use it and has good stores for it. Myth number 10. No days off, right? So there's a whole culture of like, if you're not doing it to the nth degree, you're probably doing it wrong. And that, again, is a myth. This is going to lead to you being injured, lead to you being in my office instead of in the gym where I want you to be. Rest days are vital. Most people need 3 days or less of lifting and 3 days or less of cardio. And I recommend that you smash them both together. So basically, you can get all of your exercise done for the week in 3 one-hour bouts, half the time spent doing cardio, half the time spent doing resistance type exercise. That is my typical go-to standard stock answer for how much you're supposed to be exercising. Again, requires no carb loading whatsoever, but you will get some benefit if you do the cardio portion of that before you eat breakfast. All right, so I got a bonus myth number 11 here for you, and that's that there are good and bad workouts, right? Has anybody heard that out there? Oh, I had a bad workout, or, oh, you're doing it wrong, right? There's a big debate about this, right? So you do X, Y, Z, and somebody else does this, and they're saying, no, you need to come to my gym. You're doing it all wrong. Your workout's bad. You're not getting the most out of whatever you're doing, and it's all malarkey, right? I disagree. I wholeheartedly continue to say, find something that you will do for the rest of the year and stick with it, right? Find something that you like to do that maybe isn't the most comfortable or the most pleasurable experience for you, but you will stick to it. And then once you've found that, that's a better recipe than any great exercise that you'd only do for a few weeks, right? You need to make sure that you're finding something that you will stick to, because good changes are not going to happen in 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks. They're going to happen in like 24 and 36 weeks where you can see huge changes. And if you're not going to stick to it, that's the loser workout or the bad exercise, one that you're not going to stick with. Anyways, that's all I have for this evening. I hope that you are in the middle of a wonderful week right here at the end of the year. If you ever have questions, you can find me, Dr. Merrill, at nightlightchiropractic.com. You can find our blog. We are on YouTube, and I'm going to continue to bring you some of these videos here into the new year. With that being said, Happy New Year, and I will see you next time for another Wednesday Night Wellness Live. Good night.